Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Off the Console. My name is Gardner, and I'm here with my friend James, aka The Brink. How's it going, James?
It is going good this morning.
Usually it's a three-man crew here on the show, but High Tech is off this week. High Tech, we can't wait to see you next week, my friend. We're going to be covering a bunch of stuff on this show. If you don't know Off the Console, this is our gaming and tech news and anything nerdy show where we just kind of hang out and talk about the things that are interesting to us over the last week. This week we have some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about all the things that Nintendo mentioned in their Nintendo Direct this week. Maybe not all the things, but the stuff that's most interesting to us. We're going to talk about how game developers are avoiding the release week of GTA 6 like the plague. We're going to talk about Gamestop because that's a meme still, and also the fact that Android has gone closed source development or private development. We'll talk about all this today. But before we get to any of that, we like to start the show off by talking about the things we've done this week. James, what have you done this week?
I have slowly converted my channel over to a Mac-only channel. No, I am... I'm working on an April Fool. I love April Fool's videos. I'm going to do one of those. But I've also been obsessing over the Mac for stupid reasons because, But I just want to simplify my life. And so I've been obsessing over that and also like smaller form factor PCs. Just my room overheats with my 3090. And so I just want something that's not going to overheat this room. So I'm looking at like did I say 4090? I'm 3090, whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's a 40. I watched a video on the 4090 eGPU. So it's like a mobile chip in it. I'm curious how well that runs, like, or heat wise. And so that I'm have my eye on that to then maybe build out build out my gaming system. I'm having fun. I still playing I'm not playing Astrobot right now. Surprise, it's been a month. But It Takes Two with my son, still playing that. We're slowly getting through that. That's really fun. Played it on Bazai, and I have to switch back over to Windows to play it because it crashes at the same spot. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's Bazai's fault per se. I think it's NVIDIA's graphics drivers.
Oh my God. Don't get me started on NVIDIA's graphics drivers.
So
they're so bad.
Yeah, I'm going to have to switch back over to Windows.
Yeah.
I think I'd have a better time emulating this game. Honestly, I actually would play fine if I had like my MacBook with Crossfire or something like that, but that's a whole other can of worms too. That's what I've been doing.
Nice. I've been doing a lot of work. I've been getting ready for a big project for my client. But I also have been playing a classic, an absolute classic. I don't know if you know this about me, James, but I really love racing games, which I find interesting because I don't really like cars, but I love racing games. And I've been playing Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, which I have a big box version out in my game shelf, and oh my God, it is so much fun. I'm playing it through Proton, and it is sick. Yeah, it's so good.
Didn't they remake it, or is this something else I'm thinking of?
I don't know. Maybe they did.
Is this the older one? Like when did it come out?
Oh my gosh.
2000s?
Need for Speed 3. I'm thinking like 98.
98. Okay, it's that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember playing that one a lot. It was really fun.
I played so much of it. So much. And the music is so nostalgic. The gameplay it hasn't aged super great, but there's still like this like dedicated community around it, and I just enjoy it. It takes me right back to being a kid.
I'm gonna have to pick that back up because I played it a ton as a kid.
Yeah, there's a community patch that you can get through Lutris, and it works really well. And it makes you can like run the game in widescreen. I'm running it natively at 4K. I'm gonna try it on my Steam Deck, and probably I'll make a video about it too. It's a lot of fun.
That is fun. I really like the Need for Speeds. I like arcade racers a lot more than realistic ones. That's just
me too. Yeah,
like
Burnout, the entire Burnout franchise, love it. Burnout Paradise specifically is great.
It's so good, and I am shocked that is a franchise that did not continue on.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because they, they didn't it didn't do well enough, and so didn't they put them on like a different project or something like that? The devs,
Criterion, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But Burnout series is amazing. I like it. Weirdly enough, I like it a little more than Need for Speed because you have all the crash physics and everything. Like, that's really fun.
Mm.
I think the newer Need for Speeds have that too for the most part, but it's not quite the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Need for Speed 3, the one that I've been playing, is the only Need for Speed game I've ever played.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I really, to be honest, when I was growing up, my cousin had like a really nice PC gaming setup. His dad did. And so I played whatever he had. So Unreal Tournament, I played at his house. I played Duke Nukem, Command & Conquer, these kind of games over there. Need for Speed 3. That was the only one I ever got access to. But and then like I never was interested in the console stuff. So I don't know. For example, like the other kind of racing games, kart racers, obviously, you got to have like Mario Kart in there. You got to have Crash Team Racing in there. So those were the kind of games that I played like on my own time, like when I wasn't visiting my cousin. So
Need for Speed Most Wanted, like I think it's kind of like a remake off of Need for Speed 3 or just like the Need for Speed Most Wanted. Games.
That probably. I think
pretty
Need for
fun.
Speed 3 had cops in it, if I remember correctly, because I remember getting pulled over when I was a kid, and I think Most Wanted was also like cop based.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like some of them are really fun. Some of the Need for Speeds are just So.
Yeah. Oh, also, Doodlings is officially open source now. Source code's available, which I'm really happy about. You can go get it. You can download it. There's a demo available for Doodlings. You can download that as well. It's on Steam. But yeah, James, I don't know about you, but I'm interested in knowing what the audience has been playing this week. If you guys sound off in the comments on YouTube, you can also leave us a comment. You can engage with the show on the Fediverse at Off the Console Show at podcast.subscribe2.me. That's a mouthful. We should probably fix that at some point, but right now that's how you can talk to us. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can follow the RSS feeds that we have available. There's you can get the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much any other place that you would get podcasts too. With that out of the way, let's get into the first topic. Nintendo Direct. March 27th. Nintendo Direct. So I know we were talking off the show about neither of us are super into a lot of these games. But like, did anything stick out to you?
Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake, maybe. I do like Dragon Quest games. I just haven't played them in a long time, and
yeah,
I don't tend to play those types of games as much these days unless it's it has to be like a really big really like it has to be a premium release of like an RPG or something like that, because I just don't have the time, and I'd rather put my time into like horror games and stuff. Like Silent Hill 2 remake, I just got it. I'm gonna be playing that soon. I like a little bit shorter games or very specific types of games, and so even though I like all sorts of games, I have to limit my list down, and that's the only problem with Nintendo Direct, is that a lot of these games are just not games I'm as interested in. Albeit I'd love to play some of them, I just don't have the time. But yeah, that's definitely one that popped out to me.
Yeah. I like how this looks. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. The name of it, the actual full name is Dragon Quest 1+2 HD 2D Remake. Is that right? Am I reading that correctly?
I think you're reading it just fine.
Which I think is hilarious. But it's kind of got some cool, it's got a nice aesthetic. Like the sprites are 2D, and it's almost like Paper Mario sprites in a 3D world, right? Which I think looks pretty neat. I don't think I've ever played a Dragon Quest game, honestly. But I do think this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna scroll past a lot of these titles here, and I know people are gonna shout at me in the comments, but like the only ones that really stuck out to me, Patapon 1 and 2 replay. Do you know why this is super freaking interesting, James?
I don't know.
This is a Sony game. This is Sony.
So Sony's going the route of Microsoft. Everything's a PlayStation.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing is, like, I believe they partnered with Namco Bandai on this, and they licensed Patapon, which was a PSP exclusive. And and they licensed this here, and now it's coming to Switch, which, hey, that's kind of neat. I would buy this on PC. Patapon was a super fun rhythm game that I played all the time on my PlayStation, my PSP. This bad boy right here, in fact. I love the PSP. I play it all the time. And I think that's pretty cool. So maybe Sony's trying to like get in there, and because honestly the Switch is not really a competitor to the PlayStation, right? Like most people who have PlayStations have Switches, I would imagine, anyway.
I buy stuff, like for me, I buy stuff based on what games they have. So
yeah,
PlayStation, I have all the PlayStations for the most part because they have series that I really like. Same thing with Nintendo devices.
Yep. Yeah, and if I get a Switch too, I'm gonna get mine secondhand because then I'm not gonna be supporting Nintendo. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty neat. The other thing is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I'm a huge Metroid fan. I've been playing Metroid games for as long as I can remember, in fact. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks pretty neat. And I'm not really a story guy when it comes to video games. I don't really care that much about story. But Metroid games, I actually really kind of enjoy the simple story that goes on in the, on the side when you're playing. But one thing at the end of this trailer, which I don't think is going to play for me because IGN videos never play. At the very end of the trailer, there's like an alien speaking in an alien language, and he refers to Samus as the chosen one. And it's like, can we not do that? Like, how many sci-fi games have to have a chosen one, or sci-fi franchises,
I think you could pretty much say, how many games do we have that have a chosen one?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big one for fantasy.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The story's been going on for so long that unfortunately you have to hand it off to additional writers and stuff. And yeah, it always runs the risk of really going a different direction than maybe what the original writers wanted. I don't know if the original writers are still on it, but I'm assuming not.
I don't believe so.
And it's evolved so much over how long's is this like a 30 plus year franchise?
I believe the first Metroid came out in 88.
So we're coming up to what, 40?
40 we're heading towards. Yeah.
Heading towards it.
86, my dude. It's almost 40 years old.
It is the same age as me.
Wow. Yeah. I was born in 88. So I ain't much younger than you.
Yep.
And wowzers. I'll tell you what. I like I said, I've been playing Metroid for as long as I can remember. Like Super Metroid specifically was my first.
I played it, but I played it for the gameplay. I don't remember any story. Whenever
there was very little. The story in Metroid, Super Metroid, was super atmospheric. Like, like I don't know if you remember, like the intro, like before you even start the game, like it's like this mode 7, like it's zooming in and stuff. When I was a kid, I didn't know what the hell was going on. But like there's like dead scientists on the ground, right? Yeah. They're like they're dead people laying on the ground, and then there's like a Metroid with a broken containment vat or something, you know? And it's like when I look at it now, I'm like, whoa, dude, this atmosphere is like super dense and really great. The only real story beats that I remember is when it's like the last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace, right? And then it has like text on the screen with Samus giving an intro log. And I believe there's a little bit of a thing at the end too. And that's it. Everything else is done environmentally. And I love that. That's the kind of game storytelling that I want, you know?
Half-Life does similar stuff. They have some narrative, but it's not, you know, I think it's similar in some ways. But yeah, no, I remember the game being like just real atmospheric is I think the correct word. Like for what it was and what it is, like it's very like definitely just primo.
Yeah. Yep. That's the thing I like about video game storytelling is you get to experience the story at your own pace. And it really bothers me when the game like rips control away from you to tell you a story. It's like, no, I don't want to. If I wanted to watch a movie, I'd put a Blu-ray on, you know, like because I'm old.
I don't mind. It all depends on the game.
Yeah.
If I'm expecting it in the game, fine. If the franchise changes how they do it, it gets annoying.
Yeah.
Like honestly, if they did that in Half-Life, I think I'd be very annoyed.
Me too. Absolutely.
So I know what to expect. As long as I know what to expect with my game and they don't change it too much throughout the years, then I'm fine with that. Like if I'm playing an Uncharted game, I expect it's going to be very story driven, very heavy.
Yep.
So,
this is interesting. I guess I missed this when I looked through. Monument Valley 1, 2, and 3 is coming to Switch.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of neat. I like of all the games I've played on Android, which isn't many, Monument Valley is like the best.
It is a good one. It's on let's see. It's on Android, iOS, and Netflix. Yeah. It's on Netflix.
That's interesting. Is that
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Is that why YouTube rolled out like those cut the rope games on YouTube? Because Netflix has games on it now?
I'm sure it is. You know, if people enjoy that, go for it. I don't play those types of games. If I'm going to play a game, I want to download it and not have it be integrated with my videos.
Yeah.
If I'm on YouTube or from Netflix, I'm watching stuff I don't want to play. Now, that being said, I don't mind it being like, if people are enjoying it, go for it. It's just don't, you know, if it fails, don't get mad at me. Which I feel like is more and more the answer to every C-level exec's like, well, it's the consumer's fault. Even in the game industry too, like they should have liked it. It's like, no, you should have made something better. Or just not blame us.
That they call that victim blaming.
Yeah.
Though I think the one last thing I want to talk about with the Nintendo Direct is the virtual game cards thing. Have you heard about this?
No.
So essentially now what you can do is any game that you have installed on like as a downloadable game, you can eject from your Steam from your Switch, and then you can log into another Switch and insert that cartridge.
Is it a cartridge, or is it
it's virtual. It's not. There's not actually a cartridge.
Well, how do you inject it? Just by like
you download it.
Oh,
yeah. You can, and you can lend it to other family members too. So like,
I mean, I love the concept. I'd like it even more if I could actually like download a game and then they sell like either cartridges that I could write to or just a SD card. That would be like the perfect setup. That's very unique.
If Nintendo if Nintendo came out with like their own Meg cartridge, you know, where you could load games that you downloaded onto it and pass that around, that'd be cool. This is all done digitally. There's no physicality to it at all.
Still, very cool that they're at least doing this. This is feels very consumer friendly.
Yeah, there are like some stupid like weird stipulations. Like you can share it with your family members, but I believe you can only share it for like up to 14 days. Which is just like
interesting.
Valve's doing this. Why can't you do it right too? You know?
Valve does it in a way too, where I think you have to re-log in on the computer if you're sharing. So, right? Unless they switched it.
So now the way it works is you can share your games with anyone living in your household.
Yeah.
Like my brother lives here, my girlfriend lives here, and the three of us are sharing all of our libraries. And I haven't logged into, well, maybe I did log into Emily's Steam Deck to do it, but I don't think I logged into my brother's computer to do it.
You
I
might
think
be able to, yeah.
it's just accounts. Like you just log in or you just share it with an account.
Well, that's how it used to be. And I don't know if I've set up the new way of doing it, or maybe I have and I just don't remember, but
yeah, the new way to do it
there's
is
still
so much
gotchas
better.
with it, but it is definitely, I think, pretty solid.
Yeah. The new way to do it is a lot better. I know people complained about it when I was talking about it on my channel because it used to be like, oh, my brother who lives like 40 states away, like I used to share my collection with him, but now we can't do it. And it's like, dude, that's not what it was meant for. Like, why are you, that's I don't know. And then you'd be locked out of your entire library if your brother played one of your games,
I mean,
way it works
technically
now
it's
is a lot better.
It's for families that live together. Like, it's
Yeah.
probably more for like,
It's for you and your
teens,
kids.
20, maybe
Yeah.
into 20s and stuff like that. That's kind of what it's meant for. And I will say this right now, like, I do think it's a little silly to get upset about this type of stuff because a lot of games are so cheap. Just buy the damn game. I know it's maybe a privilege for me to say that or whatnot, but buy the damn game, support the developers. So many people have so many games on their account. Just play the games you already have, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But this is just a nice little icing on the cake for me. It is not something I use very often. Sometimes my wife uses sometimes we'll buy a copy of an indie game or something like that, and we'll share a play in that. But usually it's annoying enough because at least in the past, I couldn't play anything else on my account while she's playing. So sometimes I'll just buy a copy for her. It just depends on what it is.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the virtual game card thing here is pretty neat.
I think it's cool. I think it's a pro consumer move.
Yeah.
I like that. And
this works not only on the current Switch, but it will work on Switch 2, is my understanding. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. I'm down for that.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about in this?
No.
No.
Poor
right.
High Tech. This is probably his highlight, and I'm sure he would have loved talking about all these.
We would have if High Tech was here, we would have talked about every single one of these games. And I've never heard of like 5 of them, like most of them. So
I would have learned a lot from this one.
Yes, me too. This is why I miss High Tech when he's not here, because I learned so much. All right. So I think the next story we should talk about is Ubisoft is spinning off Assassin's Creed and a couple other studios or franchises, I should say, into its own business unit, and it's getting a cash infusion from TenCent. Have you heard about this?
No, I've only read the article.
Okay.
Somewhat, and so it's interesting. It's an interesting choice.
So 3 of their biggest franchises, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, are becoming their own subsidiary of Ubisoft. And according to this Yahoo Finance article, it's valued at $4 billion, which, really? $4 billion for those 3 franchises?
Honestly, I thought it would be more because those are mega franchises. With how many Assassin's Creeds there are, how many Far Cries there are, and Tom Clancy. Well, it's Tom Clancy Rainbow Six, but like if it was all the Tom Clancy's, that's a lot. If it's if they're moving the IPs over there, and it sounds like Ubisoft is going to become more and more of a holding company, or like they're going to become more like Tencent. Is what this is kind of looking, and this is probably to save their asses because they've made so many mistakes. I could see Ubisoft starting to go the route of becoming like more of a holdings company.
Which just let Ubisoft die, in my opinion. I mean, what do they have? Like they have those 3 games, but if they're spitting those off into its own thing, then what do they have left? Like Splinter Cell?
They have stuff. They actually have quite a bit of IPs that they just don't do anything. Like Rayman. If they make another rhythm style Rayman, those are fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like those are really fun. Those are the type of like I loved Rayman. Is it Legends?
Yeah.
Love it.
That was really good. That was like one of the only good Ubisoft games I've played in the last decade. You know what else was really good? Was it Grow? Or Grow Home? It was like you were a red robot, and it was like an indie style game, and you climbed a beanstalk. That was so much fun. I
haven't played it, but I've seen it, and it does look fun. Far Cry's, I love the Far Cry series, but they just released them in such a weird way that there's like 2 of them I haven't played, and I don't know.
I played the first Far Cry at my cousin's house on PC, and that was not a Ubisoft game at the time. That was that was Crytek, right? Maybe it was published by Ubisoft, but like Ubisoft ended up buying Far Cry from Crytek. And
interesting, yeah.
So, and I played that, and I remember being like, "Man, graphics will never get better than this." Like,
agreed. Like the water, ice, the amount of time I spent optimizing my computer, overclocking and everything, to get Far Cry to look just better was stupid.
I remember crawling through the grass, like I was prone in the grass with my gun, and I could see the individual blades of grass casting shadows on the gun, and I was like, "What, dude? That's incredible!" And it was so much fun. And then I never played another one.
I think I played them on the console. They were okay, like because I worked at GameStop at the time, and so when they came out for the consoles, like I think it was Far Cry 2 and 3. No, it was Far Cry. It was like, it wasn't even Far Cry 2 and 3. It was, I don't know. I've played half the games. If it's interesting enough, I will play it. Like the Doomsday one was interesting. What is it? Far Cry 5, I think is what it is. Yeah. It's the one where like there's a cult leader and you're wondering. It's pretty good. I actually like that one. But it became more of like situational. Like Far Cry 3 is a really good one, actually. I definitely recommend playing that one. But like the Assassin's Creed series, like fun. They pumped them out too much, and they weren't. The gameplay just was too similar between each one, and the story just was good. Usually, that's the type of games I love to play. I just didn't get into them until Black Flag, and then that's the only one I've beaten. But this is definitely an interesting direction for them to take, and I really do think it's because they want to save their asses. Like I said, like I think we've seen it. Like they're failing more and more, and in order to like save at least the C-level execs, they're like, we're gonna set up this new subsidiary, and then they're gonna. I think they're gonna start probably either maybe setting up multiple subsidiaries, and then just become more of a holdings company like Tencent, and then just work with other companies to save themselves. I can see that. It's kind of like how the game industry is going right now, which could end up being good short term for these companies to be a subsidiary. It could really actually help. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six have being a focus of that company that are going to be a part of instead of a huge conglomerate could help them. But it will most likely be a double-edged sword with these types of holding companies. Eventually, they will get sold off or pieced apart. We'll see. I don't have a lot of hope and stuff like this right now. But
no, I mean, I didn't have any hope anyway. But like, I mean, because Tencent already owned like 10% of Ubisoft, right? Yeah. But now they're going to acquire 25% stake in this new entity here. Yep. So that's like what this article says. It's 1.16 billion euro to acquire 25% of this company, which is just bonkers. I mean, that means like Tencent is like involved in so many like different publishers, right? Like
Tencent, it's interesting because Tencent, I'm sure they have a little bit of a say, but I don't know if they directly influence too much. but they own a big chunk of probably most game, at least, well, I shouldn't say a big chunk, like as a whole games, but like individually, they probably own like a quarter, at least a piece of a quarter of the games out there. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't have some ownership.
I mean, yeah,
like
they own like a minority stake in Epic.
Yep.
They own like a ton. They own so much. It's very concerning. Why?
League of Legends, I think they do too.
Oh yeah, I think they fully own League of Legends, like the whole studio. Yeah.
But the studio still, or like the company still, I think acts more on a creative level on its own. I don't think it's not like Ubisoft, where I feel like Ubisoft gave too many directives and then kind of like destroyed them. I will have to give this to TenCent, and I could be wrong. People could let me know in the comments or just let us know somehow. But I don't know if TenCent is as direct, but that doesn't mean they couldn't be, or that they're behind the shadows being more direct. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh my gosh. The TenCent headquarters is bizarre.
It's bizarre.
What is a company that is that owns like a quarter of the world? What do their headquarters building look like?
Oh my gosh. Why? Why would you want your building to look like that?
I like unique stuff. I think it looks interesting, but yeah, it is weird.
That is very strange.
And it even has connections between the two towers. So yeah, there you go. That's TenCent. They probably don't produce any products in there. It's all legal and business people in that thing. Definitely. Fascinating.
Ugh. Makes me feel weird, man.
It's fascinating how many companies own. They don't do any, like, how many companies own games or game companies that don't do, and their headquarters are just drastically different. Like if you go to the game studio, very different than if you went to the business district. We don't need to get into that crap.
Yeah.
What's this next thing?
The next thing is there's a bunch of publishers who want to delay their games so that they don't compete with GTA 6. What do you think? What do you think about that headline, first of all? First impressions.
Yeah, they're right. Like, you'd be an idiot to release. Honestly, you'd be an idiot. They should be avoiding this year, period, probably. Especially if GTA 6 is going to be $300 like people are saying. No, I'm just kidding. No one's saying that, but they might as well keep on upping that. Because I don't care about that game very much. I'll eventually play it or buy it. I don't know when, but it would be fascinating to see if they charge like $500 to see how many people would actually buy it for like a year early access, more or less, just to see. Because I'm, a masochist or something like that. But yeah, I mean, within a month, you probably don't want to release within a month's period of this game coming out. Not even the same week.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I released my game the same day as Hades 2 stealth dropped, and my game sold nothing. Like it was so bad. So I like GTA 6 is poised to be like probably one of the biggest launches of any media, anything ever. And so I don't blame people for wanting to avoid it. This report comes from The Game Business, which I don't think I've ever heard of, thegamebusiness.com. And according to this article, 3 major video game publishers have told The Game Business they are ready to delay their games to avoid Grand Theft Auto 6. Rockstar's first GTA game in 12 years is due for release at the end of 2025, and game companies are holding off confirming their Q4 release slate until the developer makes its move.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't.
There's been multiple games that have released during a very popular game. Let's say Call of Duty. There's been multiple really good games that have released in around very popular game releases, and because of that, done very poorly. And I don't think it's because of marketing or anything else. I think it's because of that. And so we've said this in the past. I will say this again. I think it'd be hilarious just to see. Half-Life would lose, but I want to see Half-Life 3 drop the same week just to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Half-Life would lose.
It would lose,
Yes.
but at least I'd have something to play because I probably won't. I just don't want to be tempted to buy this the week of. And I probably will.
For me, there is literally zero temptation. Like, I have no interest in playing this game.
I have FOMO all the time.
Oh, really?
So I get bad FOMO depending on the game. And if this game has like really fun things to do in it, because I don't care about the GTA story. I don't want to be a bad guy personally, but I love running around and doing and finding all the cool stuff to do in GTA. That's the thing I like about GTA. And as long as they don't lock that out and I can just go cruise around, even though I don't want to go to Miami, I think that's where it's at, right? It's like, it's in Florida somewhere. Again.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not what it's called, but that's what they base it off of.
Vice City.
Vice City, yeah. It'd still be fascinating to go around and just see what they've added.
Yes.
That's why I'd get it.
I mean, that the only appeal is that for me. Like, I have no interest in. For me, it's like, this is the thing that's like, for me, I don't care about like supporting Rockstar. I don't want to support them in anything. I hate Rockstar. They're unethical, the way they treat their employees, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. So I don't want to support them. Also, like, the last good GTA was GTA Vice City, I think. Like, GTA 4 was okay, but like Vice City was like the only one that I really, or the last one that I enjoyed. I didn't care for San Andreas. I didn't care for GTA 4 that much, and I definitely didn't like GTA 5. So I'm just not interested. I don't know.
I like the Red Dead Redemption series, and so I will have to say that they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, their GTA series is just okay. Like they have other franchises that I like more. Let's just say that. Because they have like Max Payne series, Bully. They have
Bully
Manhunt.
was fun. I remember playing Bully. That was pretty good.
Yeah. They I forgot about Red Dead Revolver. The heck, they had Red Dead Revolver. And so they have some good stuff. I just not as interested.
Yeah. I haven't even put 8 hours into GTA 5.
Honestly, that could be more than I put into it.
Really?
I think GTA 5 is, I don't know. I probably put around that. I spent time wandering around and just having fun. That's it. And then I'm sure I played something else.
Yeah. The thing is, I like the driving mechanics in a lot of GTA games. Like I said at the top of the show, I like driving games, but the getting out of the car and like shooting and beating people up and stealing shit and whatever, I just don't. It was fun and novel when it was naughty for a kid to be playing it, and I'm not a kid anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I like the Watch Dogs series more for this type of stuff, where it feels slightly more ethical, but teach their own, I guess. I like the Watch Dogs series, but
yeah, I think I played a little bit of that. That's a Ubisoft game.
It is a Ubisoft game, and it is actually another series. Ubisoft has a couple of series I really like, and I wish they weren't so tied up with everything else. So,
yeah. So one thing about this, it looks like one of the games that's probably going to get delayed is the new Battlefield, or the Battlefield relaunch, I should say.
Battlefield relaunch. I don't know if I've heard of that.
I hadn't heard of that either.
Are they like relaunching the whole series because they fucked up so bad with the last one?
Probably.
Dude, I reserved that one, and I didn't. And it was so. I played the beta. It was fun enough, but I'm like, okay, there's some big bugs. Hopefully, they fix it by the time it comes out. I reserved it because I was super excited about it because it's a little bit more futuristic, just a little bit, and I like those types of Battlefield games. I want them to do a real futuristic game, but besides the point. And I wasn't able to return it because I waited too long because I didn't even play it. I didn't even play because it had such bad reviews when it first came out. And I have such a bad taste about all that. And it's my fault at the end of the day, but they're going to have to do a lot to redeem themselves because their last game was performed and looked worse than their previous two.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what you have to do to royally fuck up that bad. Just use this. You could use the same, like you're using the same engine.
Yeah.
How do you just screw it up that bad? They did though.
Yeah.
They did.
Only in the video game industry, right?
That's what it feels like. Sometimes they release a new, like, I don't get it. I don't get, just use the same assets and just work off of that. I don't know what they were doing, but it just ended up being drastically worse and it didn't look as good and everything else. Like,
yeah. We'll get to reusing assets in a minute. There's another story we're going to talk about in a minute. Before we get to that though, GameStop plans to close a significant number of stores and invest in Bitcoin because it's 2018. I honestly haven't read this article. Have you read this article?
I have not, but they have been in the NFT stuff. They've done NFT. They've done the crypto stuff before. It is interesting that they're reinvesting into Bitcoin. Maybe it's because the U.S. government is attempting to divest into Bitcoin, which is a bizarre thing.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It could, like, if they invest now and then the U.S. government invests in, and then they could rug pull, and then they'd at least survive a little longer.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Have you been to a GameStop recently?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's a GameStop about 20 minutes from my house. And I went in there just because I was like in the area and I'd get like a sandwich at the shop next door. And I was like, it's been like 2-3 years since I've been to a GameStop. Let's go in there. So I went in there with Emily and it was depressing. It was depressing. It was like, there were patches of like physical media on the walls, right? And then there were empty shelves in between. So like there was the Xbox section, and then it was mostly empty shelves, and then it was the PlayStation section, and then it was mostly empty shelves. And then in the center of the store, it was like the kind of stuff that you would have got from ThinkGeek, like, 15 years ago or whatever. It was like a bunch of like plushies and like nerdy like trinkets and stuff. And I was like, this sucks. Like, this is really sad.
My kid really did like it. My son, he was pretty like when we went in, there's a lot of cool stuff. Honestly, I live probably 30 minutes away from, 10 minutes to 30 minutes from like 4, maybe 5 GameStops. Like where I live, I can get to them pretty quick. Some of them are very depressing and some of them are okay. Like the one I went to was okay. The problem is like they didn't have Split Fiction new, and it came out that week, I think it just did well enough to where it was sold out, which I've just never heard of a game selling out in a long time. Back in the 90s and 2000s, you had to reserve games and they could sell out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of digital and everything, I just don't hear games selling out. So I wasn't able to pick that game up at the GameStop, but I picked up some, I don't do this very often, but I picked up some used PS5 games there. One of them being Watch Dogs, I think it was like Legions or something like that, which I haven't played yet. But I picked it up for $5. I'm like, sure, why not? Like, this is a series I really like. It wasn't bad, and they actually had quite a bit of a selection, which is not typical, but it's definitely not the same as it used to be, right? Like, it's going downhill, unfortunately. Yeah. And I say that because if I go to a mall, there's not a whole lot I'm going to be doing at a mall. I want a GameStop.
Right. Oh man, I haven't been to a mall. Dude, there's a mall like 40 minutes from my house. It's in Bangor, Maine. And I keep getting like or not emails, but like push notifications from the newspaper, because I'm a subscriber, because local media. And I keep getting emails like the city of Bangor has decided to like use eminent domain to take the mall. It's like, dude, like it is like collapsing in on itself. Like that, both 2 of the 3 anchors are gone. Like it's bad. It's so bad. And like people, the mall walkers are like not going in there anymore because like it's so bad. Like, and when you lose the mall walkers, you've lost the plot as a mall. It's wild.
There's a funny enough, like the closer you get to like the denser parts of our metropolitan area here in Salt Lake City, like the malls are much fancier, much like nicer.
Yeah.
And the further you get away from that and more into like more libertarian areas, I will say this, but it is like that. Like there's one south of me that is half of it. It feels like they're trying to set it up to be almost like, what is it? I don't even know what the word is in English. Because I know it in Russian, but it's like third-party markets where people like kind of like it sounded like what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, I'm like, I've never heard of any of these stores. They're set up in a very weird, almost third world way in some. I don't know. It's not. It wasn't third world, obviously, but
like they're knockoff generic brands, right?
It is bizarre.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, this is unfortunate because it's a nice 2-story mall.
Yeah. Don't get me started, because like it pisses me off when I go on like Amazon and it's like you search for like something, whatever, Kleenex, and it comes up with Dingerbring brand Kleenex tissues, and you're like, what does Dingerbring mean? What does that even have? Like there's at least with Kleenex it's inferring an idea of like cleaning your nose. Whatever. So that kind of stuff that happens at our mall up here too. It's no good.
Yeah, it is. Amazon's almost getting unusable. It's going the way of like Google search in some ways, because you go to Amazon and you type something in and you're going to get all the Chinese knockoff, or it is, you're not going to get exactly what you want, and because it's cheaper, people tend to buy that. But it's cheaper for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, man. Yeah. So I want GameStop to survive. It's unfortunate. I honestly want malls to survive so that they can compete with Amazon. I just don't know what they're going to do.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is getting into like my own politics a little bit, but I'll tell you this. I want malls and Amazon to disappear. I think the only like real competition that you can manage against Amazon is local main streets, right? Like malls are a completely unnatural and
so fun
economic like sink. They don't belong. Like they're like a cancer in my opinion. And I think that Amazon can only exist because of the culture that malls created. But that goes off onto its own tangent.
Like malls here, like in the wintertime, I don't want to walk the streets to go shopping at a strip mall or a strip street. I don't want to walk the malls are nice. You go in, nice, pleasant. You can get yourself some food, walk around, window shop a little bit, and then go in. Like I'm not I wish malls had more stuff for me. Like I'm not as big into like shopping for clothes, but I'll go with my wife, and it's nice to walk around. And then they'll have events there. They have trains. Like it's fun, but I agree. Like it can, I don't know. It's a hard one because
my whole thing is it's private property that's owned and I don't like that aspect. Like in order to go into any of these shops, you have to first go into private property. I do like that it's walkable, right? But it also means you have to, in most places, you have to drive your car and park in order to walk the mall, which, dude, we should just have like walkable cities, right? Walkable towns.
Oh, I agree with that.
And and like if you wanted to go protest at the mall, you can't protest at the mall. You can't like,
interesting. Yeah.
Because it's private property. They can control who can and can't be there. But if you wanted to like make a statement out on Main Street, you can get people's attention and you can actually do it. I don't know. I don't even protest, but I worry about these things. You
could convince me to like more of a public style mall for like each city, but that would be interesting too.
Yeah. Well, a public style mall like would be Main Street.
I know, but I want it to be indoors because
Yeah.
Here in Utah, it gets really hot or it gets really cold. And I don't like dealing with Main Street or walking out. I like doing out, like in downtown Salt Lake, there is a mall, and I'm not going to get down behind the religious portions of this mall, but it is really, like, I love what humanity can build. Like, I love cruises. I love big, massive things. I just like big structures.
Yeah.
But the top portion can open up in the summertime, and then it closes in the wintertime so that it can stay heated. And that is awesome. Now, the problem is it's all super expensive luxury items for the elite religious people around here. But yeah, it's still cool.
That is, I mean, it sounds cool. The reason that the reason I brought any of this up was, like, when I lived in Kentucky for a while, and there was like nowhere to walk, like just to walk by shops and businesses, unless it was in a mall. And when I came back to Maine, I realized how much I missed the main street, right? Like, because the town I grew up in, you can walk down Main Street and there's 70 businesses. They're all small businesses. They're owned locally. Many of them are producing their own products, right here in Maine. Great. And that's how it is in many of the towns, especially along the coast, right? You go to Bar Harbor, you go to Rockland, you go to Portland. I mean, there's so many really nice main streets. And even inland, in Bangor, there's a really great main street. But like down in Kentucky, like there was nowhere to walk around and meet people and do things. And
I think that's a Kentucky issue. I've been to a couple of different places in South and other parts of, like, because, like, so on the West Coast and in like here in Utah, we have both. We have a mix of both. Yeah. We have a main street where like the one I was talking about, like the GameStop, we have GameStops that are outside. You have to walk to it. You have to walk to the Target. You have to walk. Like, we have a mix of both. The problem more than any of the time is half our walkable stuff outside is you have to cross a street and you have a bunch of assholes here. Like, we have so much road rage that we have. This is going way off topic. But we have campaigns for people to not shoot each other with road rage because we've had so many incidents.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So a mall feels a lot safer for my kids to not get run over or shot. So
yeah, well, yeah, and that leads me to wanting to ban cars, but that's just I'm an extremist.
I can be an extremist too sometimes. I want walkable cities too. With you, I'm with you on that one because it's honestly, if you go to a city that is walkable or that has really good public transportation that's clean and everything, you change your mind. I think people just need to go do that more because you'd be shocked at how pleasant it can be. And I agree with you on that.
There's a town. This is the last thing I'll say about this. There's a town about an hour from here where, like, at a certain point in the day, traffic is completely closed on most of its main roads, like downtown. And like when traffic closes, people go out in the streets and it's not like, you know, there's just a few people walking down the street while you're driving, right? You see just a handful of people. They close the streets and people flood the streets. And it's like, where are all these people, like, when cars are in play, right? They're trapped in their private little cars and they don't go out. They don't spend money at the local shops. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't understand why we do shit the way we do here. Anyway,
it's a whole like, there's a lot of documentaries. There's a lot of stuff on this, on the whole car lobbyists. Like, people are more brainwashed and more trained to do this than they realize. It's kind of hilarious, actually. But
yeah,
we have a similar, like, where I grew up in St. George, we have the same thing. Like, they'd close down Main Street and they had concerts and stuff and you could walk around. And I think they did it in the summertime. They do it every week, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah, in the summer, it's like, I think they're planning on closing one of the streets, like, permanently over the summer and just letting people park a couple blocks away and walk. And
there's more cities doing that.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Needs to happen.
It needs to happen. Yeah. But the part that I said is because I like seeing GameStops when I go to malls or go to strip, like when I go to a place like that, because it's fun. At least it's a place I can go to while my wife goes and shops for something like else that I might not be as interested in.
Yeah.
And I can go do some window shopping. And I don't know. Also, I worked at a GameStop, so it's nostalgic for me. Kind of just the last thing I want to say on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because I think about GameStop. Like when I think about GameStop, I'm like, man, that, I remember going to GameStop and it was an experience, I told that story about like when my brother, like we did the midnight Halo Reach launch together, and that was so much fun. So it is nostalgic, and it is sad that they're closing how many stores that they don't even say. It's just
they're still closing
numbers.
stores. It's going to keep on happening. They've almost gone on multiple times. It'll be interesting to see how they invest in Bitcoin. I'm not against changing our global currency or even going to something different. I just don't know. I'm a little turned off by Bitcoin right now, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. I do think that another reason GameStop's also not doing as well is physical media is not as popular. People also hate they're like, well, if I trade something in, it's not as, I get screwed on. I'm like, yeah, well, then don't trade it in. Like, it's the only option you have, or you can sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Like, that's how capitalism works. You're not going to get the best deal every time. And I think people have a bitter, experience from that. But
I don't know. I whatever. Let's move on. GameStop.
Let's move on. I know it's depressing. Okay.
If I'm gonna buy physical media anyway, I'm gonna go to Bull Moose Music, which is a locally owned music and game and movie place. So anyway, RGG. They're reusing assets in Like a Dragon. I told you we'd get to this. Oh yeah. they're defending their rationale, and honestly, like, I think reusing assets in games makes sense. I haven't read this one. This was put in here by High Tech, but I don't know. The fact that they're reusing assets means that they get to put more time into other things. Like if that's actually what they're doing, I don't know. But like if I made a new game and it made sense for me to include some assets from Doodlings, I would do it. Why not? It's already made.
So this debate has been going on for a long time of reusing assets. Some games have reused too many, where you see a game come out too soon. I think Far Cry 5's what is it? There's a game that came out right after Far Cry 5 that was, because spoilers if you don't know how Far Cry 5 ends, but nukes do land, which is a little annoying. You do all the work and the frickin' person still wins at the end. And then the next game that's like, it's like a spin-off, you play in the post-apocalyptic area. They reused a ton of the assets, but I don't think it was like $40. It wasn't a $60 game. That's a little bit pushing the line, where it feels like 80% of the game was the same. But at the same time, I think more studios need to reuse assets, but then make sure they inject a lot of new stuff so it makes it feel like a new game. As long as you're making it feel like a new game, that is totally fine to reuse assets. You just got to make sure you have some unique new assets to add to it.
Yeah, I agree. You got to feel it out. You got to like make sure that it's not just a complete asset flip, but also if you own the assets and you're not like buying them from somewhere else, like a third party, then it's totally cool, I think.
I'm just even fine with third party. If you can modify those things, and like if it's a rock, it's a rock.
Yeah, that's true.
There's certain things that are fine, but yeah, if you're going to make it look and feel generic, it's just going to sell like a generic. So you better be careful with that.
Right. I mean, like that kind of goes back to when we were talking about like so many Unreal Engine 5 games look and feel very similar. And it's because they're using like the nanite, or not nanite. What's the thing? Like the
there's luminous nanite. There's
well, it's like the assets from the mega scans.
It's now called
whatever.
The Fab Store.
Yeah. I don't know. You run the risk when you use or reuse assets that your game's just going to look like everybody else's. They're all using the same rock textures. They're all using the same trees. You know.
Well, here's the little trick. If you're building a game and you get those, which I do use some of those assets. You modify them, you change them up. I'm not a 3D artist, so I can't, recreate all this other stuff. But you can get them, and you can modify textures. You can modify a lot of different things and make them your own. That's the trick. You got to make it feel not generic. And with the Unreal Engine, I don't agree. And I think you, Gardner, and like most of the industry do feel this way with the Unreal Engine. I feel like it is a developer issue if your Unreal 5 game feels the same as another one. That's a developer issue, not a engine issue per se. They just made it easier, and then people are being lazy, I guess.
Yeah. I can see that. One thing too about this is like they fully acknowledge that they reused assets, and unlike a lot of other companies or studios in the industry, RGG Studio has been one of the few that's like releasing games pretty frequently, and it takes time to develop new like assets. So if you can reuse stuff, I think it makes sense.
Just make it feel different.
Just
if
make
you're
it
going to
feel
charge a certain amount, make sure it feels different.
I don't have much else to say. You have anything else about that one?
That's it. Like it's interesting. These types of stories will pop up all the time. Like they'll pop up every few years on asset reusing, like reusing assets, and so just do it right. It's a balancing game, man.
Yeah. So Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know who that is now in a fighting game.
I only slightly know who he is.
It's a dude with
He's
a very
fighter.
Chiseled jaw.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, there's more and more celebrities partnering up, like what is his face? He lives actually here in Salt Lake. But the celebrity, there's a celebrity that is here. He's a singer. And he's partnered up with like 3 or 4 different companies, like game companies, to do just DLCs and stuff for. So it's interesting how it's becoming more and more of a thing. It's like Fortnite. I think Fortnite started this trend to start including more and more celebrities. How do you feel about celebrities entering the gaming world?
I mean, I liked it back in the day when Jack Black was in that Double Fine game. I can't remember the name of it.
Which Double Fine game was he in? Was it a voice?
Well, he's been in a couple of them. Yeah, he did.
He voiced it.
Oh,
no, it wasn't his him as a character though.
Jack Black Double Fine.
Because I've played a few Double Fine, and I'm.
What is this one? Oh, this one.
Oh,
this is it.
Yeah. See, but this makes so much sense. Like this is
Brutal Legend. Oh my god, I can't believe
Brutal Legend.
Couldn't think of the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So that 100% makes sense. It makes like honestly, even with this fighter one, the Fatal Fury, it makes sense. I don't know how I feel about this fully. It makes sense, but especially if you want to try to capture a whole new crowd of people, it could drive sales really well. But it can come off as very cringe if not done right.
He's a footballer.
Yeah, it looks like he's
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, a footballer in a fighting game in Fatal Fury.
Well, at the end it showed his ult or something like that. Whatever it is, I haven't played Fatal Fury in a long time, but he kicked the soccer ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Taking him out, which little cringe to me, but you know.
Well, dude, that kind of reminds you ever play like any of the NBA games, like from like the mid 2010s, where they had like the actual NBA players come in and do the voice overs for the story, and it's like, hey man, time to get a thing done. It's like just put some effort in, man. But like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of got those vibes here from his acting. Like, where was it? He's like looking like, oh geez, oh no, big cartoon man.
They have their skill sets that they've trained their whole life for, and it's definitely not
Yeah.
some of the stuff that it's definitely not voice acting. That's for sure. It is interesting though. Like there's a lot of people that are entering the world, like a lot of actors entering the world of being modeled inside of games, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to eat into voice actors themselves, though. I don't want them to lose a job. And these people, like, I don't know. It runs the risk of just reusing the same person, the same person over and over again. And it feel like Jack Black now is starting to feel very fatigued. Like seeing him in Minecraft, I'm just like not interested. That's the part I'm not interested about.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, okay, you don't need to be in everything, dude. Like, it is starting. I want some fresh blood. I want some new talent. I want a difference in my media. I don't need the same person.
Right. Like, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like it's fun when it's novel and it's fun when it's unique and interesting and makes sense. And as soon as any of those three cease to be the case, I'm not interested anymore, you know? Like Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. I was just kind of like, no, we don't need that.
But see, that's the one where I actually liked it. I actually really liked his character in Cyberpunk.
I haven't played, so I don't know.
And that's fine. There's a lot of people that weren't fans of that. And Keanu Reeves is not in too many video games, so he's not reused too much. But for some reason, he just did a good job in that.
I like Keanu Reeves.
I don't know.
I think he's great as Neo. He's funny in Bill and Ted. But I just don't see the point of bringing in celebrities all the time. I just
typically would say that, but if
that was like right at the beginning of when I was kind of done with celebrities.
I agree. Because when I saw Cyberpunk, I was like, I don't know about this with Keanu Reeves. But then he plays certain characters so well, and he was an anarchist, essentially an anarchist. And just the way Keanu Reeves played it, I think lended very well to that. And I would have been curious to see if someone else would have been able to pull that off as well as he did. But once again, I don't want him to be in every video game either. Like, that'd be really annoying. Mark Hamill, I think is a good one though, because he does the Joker in the Batman Arkham series, and he does a great job.
See, but Mark Hamill, okay, like he's Luke Skywalker, but he disappears in his other roles. Like he's like, he's he's a character actor. And he's a voice actor before I even think of him as Luke Skywalker. So I'm cool with Mark Hamill showing up anywhere. I don't care about that. And he was also doing it with like Wing Commander in the freaking early 90s. So like I don't have a problem with him. He's an OG.
He's an OG, and he does a lot of voice acting where it's not his face in there.
Yes.
So there's times where I agree with that, but they're injecting celebrities like this more and more, and I've been stalling this whole time to try to figure out who I'm thinking of, because I don't. Damn it.
Indiana Jones.
No, Indiana Jones. So the new Indiana Jones has is it Troy?
Nolan North, right? Or is it Troy Baker?
It's Troy Baker, I think, and he does an amazing job.
I mean, that the thing with that, I actually kind of am on board with that, because there is only Indiana Jones, right? Like it's not Harrison Ford. He is Indiana Jones, and so you have to have Indiana Jones look and sound like him. I'm cool with that, especially because they're not bringing in Harrison Ford and then scanning him and then de-aging him in the geometry and the textures and shit. Like I don't know. I'm fine with that.
He's such a grumpy actor these days that he does a good job in some stuff, but as Indiana Jones, I just think it's just kind of over. And if he tried to voice act Indiana Jones, I think it would have not ended well, personally.
Yep. Anyway, I don't know. You have someone in mind?
Yes, I'm trying to fucking find.
What
Because
game?
it's such
Do
a
you
weird
remember?
one. I usually my brain doesn't work sometimes, and so I work off of Susie, my wife, and so she'll know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't matter. It's just there's a lot of celebrities being injected into more and more, and I think it's because of Fortnite, which is fine.
Oh yeah. Ew.
But I don't mind Fortnite. Like, if people want to go that route, go that route. I'm not going to play it, but I am a little worried about up and coming dogs and up and coming voice actors are going to get replaced by just more of the same celebrities that already have more work than they need, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
I want a diversity, and I don't want companies to play it safe by just utilizing the same, dozen actors and where voice actors need roles too. That's
Right.
my thing.
What Hellblade. Like, she's an amazing actress, right? From Hellblade. I can't remember her name. But like, if they were all just getting like big celebrity names, we would have never met that actress, you know?
True.
I don't know. Yeah, video games, I don't think we need to have more celebrities. We need to get more folks, undiscovered talent. I like that. All right.
Hunt Showdown is what it is. Hunt Showdown had Post Malone. That's what it is.
Ew.
Post Malone has been in multiple games now, but there's a new one, and I think they did an announcement when we watched it for the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
But Post Malone, yeah, which he's fine. That he just loves the game, but
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, what was it? Payday 2 had like Ethan and Ela Klein from H3H3. Do you remember that? And I was like, oh my god, why
Payday?
In Payday 2, they had DLC.
I did not know that. That is bizarre. What a bizarre. Why would you add H3H3 people into that?
I don't know. I like H3, like they're funny, but like I was like, dude, that just doesn't feel right to me. Like,
I liked them until they went
are
crazy, but yeah.
Neither of them are actors either, and I was like, why are we doing this? But
that's a bizarre choice. That's
yeah.
okay. That's a choice. That's one I don't understand. And even with Post Malone, I'm like, I don't know if he's a good enough actor but because it is Hunt Showdown, he might roll okay in that because it is a very gritty game.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't played it.
I've never even heard of Hunt Showdown.
Hunt Showdown's a really fun like you can do solo, duel, or a trio, and you go in and it's like back in 1880, I don't know, what is it, 1896, and it has guns and it has monsters that you're essentially hunting down, but you're in a squad and you can take out other squads, then you have to take down the monster, and then you have to extract. It's an extraction kind of shooter, and it's unique, it's fun, but it is definitely different. So
yeah,
I don't need to go much further into it. It is unique.
The last thing I'll say about any of this is we need to go back to a time when video games couldn't incorporate the lifelike likenesses of celebrities, because that's when games were more fun. And that way we can just get around this whole issue anyway. Like PS1 graphics from now
or
on.
use use an up and comer if you want. There's a couple up and comers that they'll do sometimes. Do that.
Yeah. Video games were better when Tails in Sonic Adventure was voiced by an actual child who was not an actor at all. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's there comes some labor law issues because child actors don't end up doing very well in life, but yeah. No, I agree. It's all interesting, but
you're interested in what?
I'm interested in this next topic though.
Oh yeah, me too. Game Informer is back, and they've hired the entire team again. And I mentioned Double Fine earlier, and I think, if I'm wrong, I think I'm right about this. the guy who founded Double Fine is one of the sponsor, like one of the guys behind bringing this back. What's his name? Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name. So I like Double Fine though.
Yeah, I like Double Fine quite a bit. It's owned by Microsoft now though, so poo poo. So no audio. just going through this. They're hiring the entire team again, is what they said. And I was sad when Game Informer shut down because like games journalism is really important, and the fact that they've been around for so long. I mean, I remember reading Game Informer when I was a kid. I read Game Informer and PC Gaming or PC Gamer, and like, and then I had like subscriptions here and there to like PlayStation Underground and Xbox, whatever that one was.
I had Maximum PC Gamer, which is now just incorporated into PC Gamer. Game Informer, partially because I worked at GameStop, so I make sure I'd always have a subscription. Yeah, I mean it's good stuff, and I agree with you with journalism stuff. Like journalism, period, in the world is dying, and it's unfortunate, and it leads to a lot of bad things. Now, luckily, this is the game industry, so it's not as consequential as the real world where journalism's dying there too. But it still sucks because you're going to get less good takes on the industry, on how the industry's going, and kind of calling out the bullshit of the industry.
This is interesting. Have you watched this video?
I have not actually seen the video. I just heard and read a little bit on this.
Yeah. So essentially what they're talking about here, I believe it's called Gunzilla, are the company behind bringing this back. And Tim Schafer, that's his name. I believe Tim Schafer is part of Gunzilla. There he is right there.
Yep.
And so they're bringing this back, and it's going to be an independent entity from Gunzilla. It's not part of it. And they're going to be doing the same kind of like content production and the same like articles that they're writing for their website, but they're also bringing back the print magazine.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Very exciting because I'm going to sign up for this. Like if I have some disposable income, I think I might just do it just because I like physical media. I like print magazines. I think, well, as long as they're in my wheelhouse, you know, and, I don't know. It's pretty cool to see. I was bummed when they announced they were closing.
Yeah. It was like an end to an era kind of thing. It was the same thing for me with Maximum PC when they went away. I really liked Maximum PC. I still have some of the magazines from them.
Yeah. Dude, I would love to work for them, honestly. Like
Game Informer?
Yeah, man. Like I love to write. I don't know if you've seen my blog. Like I've been blogging the heck out of my heart and soul recently.
I need to read it. I don't read blogs very much these days.
Yeah. Well,
I listen to things.
You know why I'm such a huge enthusiast for the Fediverse? It's because I post something and the people who follow me see it.
Yeah.
Like I post my blog articles and they get thousands of views.
There you go.
Like, I mean, depending on what I'm talking about, some people don't read it, but like I post my articles over there and people like actually click it and actually read it. And then I get comments and that's why I like the Fediverse so much. It's like, okay. I post a video on YouTube and it's rolling the effing dice, man. Like whether anybody's going to watch it at all. And,
yeah. I'll be honest. I really want a competitor to YouTube to pop up.
Yeah. PeerTube.
I know, but it's so expensive.
It's really not. I mean, it's more expensive than not having a PeerTube yourself. But it's really not that bad, especially if you can turn on some of the bandwidth saving stuff. It's actually pretty great.
I'll look. I need to look into it, but I just want to. I don't know.
If you want to post your videos on my PeerTube, I'll let you. How's that?
I need to come out with a video. I've been very behind the scenes on other projects lately, and I need to get back into it.
Yeah,
because it's fun.
Oh, dude, it's so much fun making videos. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm very excited about this though. Like Game Informer, again, like I think I've kind of like played my hand that I don't really like the modern game industry very much. Like I'm more into the retro stuff. but like it makes me happy that Game Informer is back and they're talking about cool games. Because there are cool games that come out recently, you know?
Yeah, no, I think the game industry is just morphing and it's getting bigger and there's more for everyone. And I don't know why people have an opinion. And this is not to throw anyone that's listening or anyone that's under the bus or anything like that. I think people have opinions on games that they really shouldn't have opinions on because they're not their type of games. It's not like game for you. Right. So let other people enjoy it. Now, if you find a practice that is nefarious, like loot boxes, you can comment on that type of stuff. Like that's fine, but like, yeah. I feel like some games people just have opinion on them. Like that doesn't sound like it's a game for you. Why do you care?
Yeah.
For me, like Assassin's Creed.
Criticism? Is this
I
veiled
don't
criticism
care for Assassin's Creeds typically. Yeah, I just so I'll still comment on it sometimes, but I'm not going to be like hate commenting on everyone's videos.
Right. Like I'm more than happy to like to like throw shade at like Epic and stuff, but like if you enjoy Fortnite, I'm not going to crap on you for it, you know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't understand. Like I understand that people like playing games online, but I don't understand why people like playing games online. I really don't get it. But I'm not going to like make fun of you for doing that, you know? Like that's just shit. No, that's shitty.
If you don't like seeing a practice by like a game company and you can still make fun of the game, that's fine. But I think some people go a little too far and really make fun of people that play Fortnite. I'm like, why? They enjoy it. Like it's just a game, man.
Right.
I don't get why people watch football at all. I don't get it.
Yeah. Oh, see, I love football.
I don't.
Yeah.
I would much rather watch StarCraft 2 or an esport than I would sport. Well, I enjoyed basketball back in its heyday when I felt like my team, the Jazz, was doing okay, but now they're yeah. So.
Yep.
I'm not a sports person.
There's an actual really cool sport I think you might like. It's called competitive chase tag. Have I told you about this?
No.
Oh, dude. Competitive chase tag. There's a small arena with like tons of like obstacles and stuff, and two teams compete one-on-one, one person versus one person to chase and evade the other person, right? It's super cool. And it's like there's like some really great rules, and it's basically like improvised parkour competitive mode. It's awesome. I love it. Anyway, well, let's move on.
Yeah, no, it's See, the thing is, I would play that. I'm much more into playing sports than I am to watching. I don't like watching sports, period.
Yeah.
For the most part, because I'd just rather play them. I don't play them as much nowadays, but I'd just rather play them. I also skateboarded a lot growing up too, and that's also my kind of jam more.
Heck
okay, we can. Game Informer being back is amazing. I think it's good. I think we need more game journalism that isn't just like IGN and PC Gamer and a couple other ones.
Yeah.
And them being print is all. I'm really curious how much it's going to cost, because I also am curious to pick one up.
Yeah, me too.
A subscription, just because it sounds like they're going to be more independent. They've cut ties with GameStop. And if they are more independent and can do really what they want, I am down for that.
Yes, I agree. Japanese gaming is back on the rise. This is another high-tech submitted story. 5 out of 8 major companies reported record profits in 2024, looks like. Or maybe this quarter, I don't know. 5 out of 8 of Japan's major publicly traded AAA gaming companies have seen share prices reach all-time highs in the past 2 months.
People are divesting from the United States.
Yeah.
It's probably partially what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sony, Nintendo, Konami, Capcom, and Bandai Namco are the major companies here. So
that's interesting, because Konami, like, what have they been coming out with that would warrant such a bump? I know Capcom.
Pachinko.
Okay, there's that. That's true. Capcom, whether I know some people are kind of frustrated with them, but like they have some pretty interesting IPs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this is good for, I think they deserve it because I think a lot of they're like, especially like, I think Capcom and Sony, those are like, I really like a lot of stuff they come out with. I think they've been doing better, and I think the Japanese AAA market is releasing better games these days.
Yeah.
But they also release a lot of games, so.
Yeah. Sega's not on this list. Is Sega publicly traded?
I think, I don't know. I think they might be held by a different company now. I don't know if they themselves are publicly traded.
I'm gonna Google it.
But I've lost track of like who owns Sega these days.
Sega Sammy Holdings.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. It was a merger in 2004, I guess. All right. Okay, well,
There
that's
you
just
go.
what I know. Cool. I mean, this is pretty neat. They've got some what is this? Konami had Silent Hill 2 driving profits.
Which, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that does help. Silent Hill 2 was a banger, and I haven't played it yet, but it does look good.
Yeah. Konami had Monster Hunter Wilds. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is neat. It's good to see, you know, in a era, at least in the West, where lots of studios are closing and there's huge, like massive layoffs and stuff. It's good to see that the games industry in Japan is still going strong.
And I hope they're treating their workers well, because sometimes it's a mixed bag with that. But
right. Silk Song. This is another high tech, one of his special interests. I actually really love Hollow Knight. It was really fun. I'm a Metroidvania fan. And apparently they changed their copyright from 2019 to 2025. And this is a huge deal because people have been talking about how Silk Song's never going to come out and blah blah blah. So this is a neat little update. It's like Half-Life 3, you know? It's a meme.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Not for us, but for
No, I know. No.
For high tech, for some folks.
And Susie, like, my wife really likes Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Really hard game, but she would, I think, be really excited for something like this. So
yeah, I have a little grub plushie from Hollow Knight.
There you go.
Do you remember the indie box? It was like they would ship you like indie games on a little USB stick, and it would come in a box, like a custom box. And the one
sounds cool.
It was neat. It was really cool, and I ordered a whole bunch of them, so I have like limited edition runs of a bunch of indie games in physical boxes.
That is cool. I really like that concept.
Yeah, some of them came with like limited run plushies or other feelies to go along with it. I have a Super Meat Boy one, but the one that I was most impressed with was Hollow Knight. It was really nice.
It's nothing to do with this, but Dead Space had their so the EA had a big sell on Dead Space merch, and I love Dead Space, so I got like a Dead Space skateboard.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
I got a couple other things, but we don't. I like collecting stuff. What's that?
This is from Axiom Verge. It's very dusty, but this came in my Axiom Verge limited edition box.
Oh,
and it's like this really beautifully sculpted thing. It's really cool.
I love collector's items that they do in these things that like when a game releases, or even if it's on a merch store. Like if you make it premium enough, go for it. Yeah. I don't like it when they do it as a cash grab, where you get like what was it? Was it a Fallout one where they got like a burlap sack or something like that, and it wasn't much.
It was like shittier than it was.
I think someone had a moldy one and everything.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the cash grab bullshit I hate, but like the Indie Box was cool. Like they stopped doing it because nobody, like what they would do is they would do like a big indie game that everybody wanted, and then they would do like a indie game that nobody had heard of, and then people would be like, what is this game? We don't want that, and nobody would order the next one. So then they'd go back to doing a big game, and then they'd come out with a small one, and the way they were doing it didn't seem sustainable.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like you need to do all the big ones, and then once a small one gets big enough, or you do like little micro ones of it, and then you can promote it as a,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just kind of how the industry is. That's how capitalism kind of works. You can't have too many flops. But no, this is good. This is good. I mean, there's not a whole lot more we can talk about it because it's just a date change, but
it's literally just a diff right here. But
it's we've had a couple of long conversations about just diffs on this podcast.
That is true.
This is very promising for people of the Hollow Knight.
Yes, I am happy. I love Hollow Knight. It was a good game. HP doesn't want Windows on their Steam Deck competitors. Did you hear about this? I talked about this on my show this week. So according to Gaming on Linux, I saw them reporting on this. Apparently, the one of the product managers, Josephine Tan at HP, was on XDA developers, and Josephine was complaining about how bad of an experience Windows is on handhelds. And Josephine was basically saying, hey, like, we'd love to do a handheld at HP, and but it's not going to have Windows on it if we did, because I don't know what to do with. If I don't like it, I don't know how to do a product for it. And she's talking about Windows there.
Well, there's also that, and they don't have. I don't think that HP has a game client like the Asus Armory. So the Asus's Armory system is like really decent, but they've been working on it for years. I don't think HP has anything like that. And so without Armory, and if I was on Windows, like, fuck that. Like, I'm not using Windows on a handheld without some type of additional software. So I can see why, like, I don't want an HP handheld though. I don't want an HP computer, period.
Well, okay. I talked about this on my news video yesterday, and there was a bunch of people who said basically the same thing. Like, the HP sucks and I don't want anything to do with them. But when HP launches a product with with Linux on it, it's actually pretty good. Like,
okay.
I have the HP Dev 1. They sent it to me to review it. And it's a Linux laptop first. It shipped with, it shipped with Pop OS.
With Pop, okay.
And I was like, I'm here for this.
That's an interesting choice.
They worked with System 76 to be able to distribute firmware updates through the built-in Pop OS firmware updater. When they do Linux, they do it right. So I know that when they ship like Windows handhelds, they ship it full of bloat and garbage, but like
it's a business oriented.
Yeah.
Full on business oriented.
Yeah. Right. But the people at HP who give a shit about Linux know how to make a product with Linux on it. And that's pretty cool.
I say I don't want an HP handheld, but I'm always, with any of these companies, always willing to be proven wrong or be surprised. If they drop one and it's amazing, sure. I'm not gonna not get it because it has HP on it,
right?
Per se, it's just, yeah. No. I mean, I want more competitors, but the market's already kind of saturated. So I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do with this.
Well, here's the deal. This is the thing that I don't quite understand, like what Valve's play is. Like, I mean, Valve makes. Like, for example, if HP shipped a SteamOS powered handheld, Valve would make money off of every sale of games off of that system, right? So that's Valve's play. But I just don't see how having a hyper saturated market, like a critically saturated market, makes sense for handhelds. Like, Valve does it the best. And honestly, I feel like the way Microsoft is going to enter the handheld space is going to try to be so loud and bombastic and oversaturate everything that it's just going to drown out like the quality stuff, you know.
Who?
Like Microsoft. Did I not say
Microsoft? Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Intel for some reason. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you said it right. I was just like, I zoned. Sorry, continue. What's your thought?
I mean, I don't remember exactly where I was going, but it like Microsoft has always had the strategy of like be loud and be the only option.
Yeah.
And and right now it's one of the only options except for the Steam Deck. You know, I don't know. Go ahead.
My opinion with this whole thing is I want competitors, but I want competitors to think things through. I want uniqueness.
Yeah.
The Legion Go, while I didn't approve, when I did my review of that, I'm like, not really for me because of Windows, and their software for Windows sucked.
Yes.
But I really like the device itself. I like that it had a bigger screen. It was unique.
Mm-hmm.
Give us unique options that people want, and you'll do a little better, and you'll have a niche of the market. But like with the Ally, they came out first, and they kind of owned the market of an alternative to the Steam Deck of a similar form factor,
right,
but for Windows, and it's a little bit more powerful. They kind of own that now, and I think other handhelds that have come out that kind of compete with it haven't done as well, just because Asus got into the market much quicker. These other companies, I don't know what they were thinking or what they were doing and why they decided to come in so late.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these companies came in like years later than they needed to be, like a year or two later. And so HP thinking about entering it now is kind of a bizarre time, but if they do it right, I'm down for it. But if it's going to be similar to, like, if it's going to run SteamOS and it's going to be similar to the Steam Deck, why not just get the Steam Deck?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's that much more powerful.
That's interesting. I think the point I was trying to articulate and failed before, what you just said kind of informs this. How do I put this? Valve selling the Steam Deck at a subsidized cost, they can recoup that, right? By selling games on Steam. I don't understand how any company aside from Valve or Microsoft can make money selling handhelds, because you have to be cost competitive with what is currently one subsidized device, or cost competitive with two when the Microsoft Xbox handheld whatever comes out. And I just like, and so you're going to have to cut costs somewhere to make a cost competitive device. But then I just don't get it. Like, I don't see how there's
kind of two things going on here. One, I think Valve is either lying or being untruthful, which I guess same thing. I don't think they're losing money. I don't think they've ever lost money. But business people will throw this out. Like, if you're not making enough margin, they will pretty much say they're losing money because it's not really worth it. I just don't think, like, especially now after a few years, I don't think, even though they've said it, I don't believe them.
Okay. I'm
not saying you're lying either. No. By the way, this is just
my whole thought process. When I say subsidized device, I think like the low end Steam device, especially the original LCD model that was 64 gigabytes, that was there so that they could have the loss leader to get people to go, that looks like a great deal, but that's an even better deal. And they go up to the next one, right? So I think they were definitely losing money selling the 64 gigabyte version, because like, I just think that was like to get people in the door.
So, I mean, I priced it out back when it first came out. I did a stream and I priced it out and looked at parts and stuff. And now I'm not an expert in this, but I still don't think that was a loss leader, even though they said it was. Like I said, I think they minutiaed things. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Like, they priced it at a low price like that. Probably didn't make much, because I still don't think they lost. They said they didn't. They lost money. I still don't know. But then again, they're also entering the market in a very they're new to the market, so that is a little different. Asus and all these other companies have been doing this for decades. They have much better margins and much better ties and even direct ties to manufacturing that they probably can do this cheaper than Valve. So that could be, that's kind of my second point. That could be what they're doing. People do forget this sometimes, that these companies have been doing this for decades.
I don't think what Gabe said was that pricing the Steam Deck was painful. I don't think they ever said that they were losing money on it.
Yeah,
but a lot of us inferred that. But yeah, you're right. I think like the fact that
they ever lost money.
No, and
I just don't think they would have.
Even if the lowest end version was losing just a handful of cents or whatever, they made it all back by selling the actual
games. Yep.
But like there isn't that like aftermarket attachment thing for any other vendors. Like none of these other vendors are going to be making a rotten cent from you after you have bought the hardware. And even if they have like the deals with manufacturers and they things are cheaper for them because of their volume, like it just doesn't seem to make sense to me. Like A&Neo releases 2 or 3 devices a year because they don't make they don't make the margins after sale. Like it's all on the hardware. And I don't know. That's why HP sells you laptops with bloated malvertising wear on it, like because it just doesn't make it. I don't know.
I think that's what we've been led to, because they have a whole. They have to make more and more every year. I think that's what we've been led to believe. I think they do make money. It's just the problem with these margins is if there's a major, like let's say Steam Deck, let's say they had a major failure in Steam Decks that they had to recall half of them. That would be a major loss leader at that point. So the dangers of some of these hardware releases are there, meaning if there's enough, if you don't produce a good enough cheap product, you could end up losing a lot of money in the long run. From recalls and from warranties and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they're making enough money, but it's definitely not probably good margins. I'd be shocked if it was good. Accessories though, if they started doing a little bit more accessories, but what do you like? They'll need to start doing much better job with accessorizing their devices, which I just don't see them doing much. Like have a dock for it that specializes and looks the same as it. Have all these other things and accessorize, and that's where you get your money typically. And that's where, like with PlayStation, Xbox, they get a lot of money from their accessories. And I don't know why these other companies aren't doing that. I just don't think they have a good game plan. And I think that's where what are they doing here? I don't know. A&Neo has a huge Chinese market that they're surviving off of. Because I thought they would have gone under a while ago, but I think they have a pretty big Chinese market. And we just get like the, not the spillover, but like we get access to those things too, because they sell well enough in China.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It will be interesting to see HP enter the market if they are.
Right. One thing I do want to note about this story too is that when Josephine Tan here was asked if they'd be interested in making a handheld running SteamOS, her response was a very quick and very simple yes.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I'd like to see what they come up with. I don't know if they'd be able to execute, but again, I do have more faith in their Linux side of stuff. I think that they'd be able to do it better than like the regular consumer handheld or business side. Also, fun fact, this is from the Wayback Machine because this article no longer exists on XDA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe somebody got in trouble for it or said something they shouldn't have said but very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. This is your story. Tell me what's going on here.
So, Apple's good. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm messing. So Google is, and the fear here is they're doing closed source development of Android now, meaning up until it is ready to be released or whenever they think there's a lot of things that could change here, but we'll talk about that. But Google is making Android development private, but they will make the once they release, they will make the OS open source. Is what's going on here. So the releases are going to be open source, which is at least that's good enough typically for me. I think that's how Unreal Engine works. Maybe they might actually also. I don't know if they have closed source development, but I do know that you can get access to the source code for Epic's Unreal Engine. I don't know if it's open
not.
source.
It's under a different license.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's source available, but the development is going on in private anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which people fear Google's going to be doing here with Android, right?
And they've been shutting off I listened to a thing on this, and they've been shutting off more and more features. So like their Pixel phones have software and features on it that they do not open source to stay competitive, I'm assuming. And so here's the thing. I don't trust Google. I use a closed source system. I use Apple stuff for business and a lot of other things. So I would be a hypocrite if I'm like, yeah, I don't like this, but I don't like that they're depending on a lot of third-party companies in the beginning, and then they started doing their own because the third parties weren't doing well enough. And then they're just going to close it off, and eventually with Fuchsia or who knows what else, is it Fuchsia, whatever it is, like their next, their next operating system. I'm curious what they're going to be doing. And I know as a hardware developer, or if I was these other companies, I wouldn't be trusting them at this point. I wouldn't be trusting them to not cancel anything at this point. They've canceled so much stuff.
Yep.
So I'd rather just jump over to a closed source system if it's going to go that way.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think we should go to like Sailfish. That's where we should be going. Like, have you heard of Sailfish?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it. I haven't looked into it too much.
Yeah. I like Sailfish. But also I read that there's like a port of GNOME to Android. Have you heard about that? I was kind of interested in checking that out, but anyway,
yeah.
No, Google sucks. They're bad. They're literally evil at this point. They will be making, like, if they follow the licensing for the Linux kernel, they have to make most of this stuff open source at some point. Making it fully private, this just seems like something that they are doing out of desperation. Like they see the writing on the wall and they're shaking down the couch cushions for pennies, you know? Like that's what this feels like to me. Like they realize that making things open source, while it's the ethical and the moral thing to do, it is not good for business, for their business, the way they want to run it. And so they're backpedaling on it.
It doesn't work very well for it if you have to keep on making short-term gains every year, which is a stupid business. It's just stupid that we're in this realm of short-term gains that kind of destroy long-term viability of a product. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like I invest like my company's money into open source, right? Like I sponsor developers of projects that I use because it makes sense for my business to
it's
have the
ethical
things
too.
that I
Like,
rely on.
Yeah. If you want something to survive, you got to fund it.
Yes, exactly. And that's why like I don't ever want to work for or be involved with publicly traded companies because like they just don't have the right motivations. It's all about shareholder dividends.
I definitely don't. Man, it's a hard one.
Yeah.
I worked for, I don't know if I've ever worked for a publicly traded, but yeah,
I worked for Home Depot for a while, and they are.
I guess GameStop I did.
Yeah,
but that was
before the meme stock.
So like, okay, so I'm in the Apple ecosystem. I'm in as close to off as it can be, but it all works so well together.
Yeah.
I'm okay doing that, but I am also putting in backup plans for if anything happens. And I also I do stuff that's not. I do a lot of stuff that's open source also, especially on my Apple devices. I'm tired of like Google canceling things. I know Apple's not going to cancel. Let's say the Simple Note app that I use sometimes, or the reminders, or certain things. I just know Apple's not going to cancel because they have a track record of not doing that, and I can rely on it. Where with open source, I can rely on that stuff to a point, but in my day to day nowadays, I gotta have things that work and work well enough for. And I've mentioned this so many different times, but for business oriented stuff, to my typical like emails and everything like that. It's nice. I've been going to the mail client on iOS and Apple. Here's the plus of the Apple ecosystem. Now I'm going to show for them a little bit, and I've been doing this. I do this every once in a while, and then I get mad, and I get mad at Apple. But I don't have ads. I don't have anything going on with my mail client. It is simple. It still has a lot of powerful stuff that Gmail has, but it is simple. Where I go back to Gmail and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is there so many tabs here and there? And I don't know.
Dude, Gmail on Android is garbage. Oh my God.
Yeah, that too. And I feel like it on Android or iOS.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of over that now. And Apple, when you buy their products, it's expensive, but they don't have ads and they don't do tracking on their first party software. And they're very direct. Like if any app is going to do any type of tracking, you have to allow it to. So, I'm not as big into the privacy thing, but nowadays I might be because of the way trends are going in this United States. But, let's just say if you're a green card holder in the United States, don't leave right now because you might not be coming back.
Right.
And that comes in the privacy. That's the one that we didn't put on here. If you go to the airport, if you're flying back in, they might take your phone and just scan it nowadays. They've done that multiple times and they've detained people that have said anything that was contradictory to, Palestine or anything like that, or Israel, which is crazy. So I'm becoming more and more of getting into that maybe privacy things, right? Where be careful, guys, and maybe it is time to really start thinking about your privacy. And this is coming from someone who's been very lackadaisical about it. So sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, I agree with you. Like, it's definitely worth thinking about. You know, the thing is, I don't trust Google with privacy stuff. I don't completely distrust Apple. Like, they at least have a marketing interest in maintaining the veneer of privacy, right? Of 100%. Being focused on privacy. So they at least have a little bit of like financial something. Nobody takes Google seriously when Google's like, oh, we care about your privacy. No, you fucking don't. But Apple at least has to pretend they do, which
they have.
Cool.
Yes, they've had leaks. But they have a business on this. If every time they have issues, their stock will drop. Like they have somewhat of a privacy aspect to them that they promote.
Right.
Part of the premium package.
I commend them for that. And especially like going to bat against like the UK for their secret court thing, court order to like give them backdoor access. And they, I commend them for that too. But like at the end of the day, at some point, they can just change their mind.
Yep.
And then suddenly, oh, we're not going to go to bat and defend our customers' rights because it will cost us too much money. And that's why I like having my own self-hosted open source stuff where I can audit it and make sure that it's actually working for me and not for anything else. So, yeah.
That is what I'm doing right now is I'm divesting stuff. I'm going to be using a lot of Apple stuff, but I'm going to have backups on my I'm going to be creating a home lab this year.
Nice.
Just partially for fun, you know.
Yeah. It's super fun.
And I'm going to be simplifying like my desktop. Like I'm probably going to get a Mac Studio.
Nice.
And start doing game development on that and just kind of having that be my main system, and then run Windows parallels if I need to run Windows stuff and all that, because it's running really well. I really, really do like the M chip. It is amazing at how much they get performance without having to up wattage like NVIDIA. And I'm also kind of just over this NVIDIA and even AMD sometimes, like not being able to get graphics cards. Like it's been a clusterfuck this year. Like, and last time too, NVIDIA is just like, it feels like NVIDIA is just screwing us over and we're just allowing it. And I'm kind of just done with that. So I'm going towards, it won't be as powerful, but I'm going towards, well, Mac Studio is really good at doing like video editing and some other stuff. Gaming, I'm not as much, but I want to dive more into, especially for gaming, into the Linux world and having fun there. And so I've talked about this multiple times. I want to keep the things like if my flow or workflow gets disrupted too much, that's why I haven't been making videos as much, because my Windows machine started acting up big time, and it was not a hardware issue. It was a Windows issue. And I had to, like, I finally, because I kept on refreshing it off of the Windows that was included on it, but I finally just did a full, just deleted, and it seems to be running better now. But I'm just not gonna. Once you disrupt my flow enough, I'm done. Google did that. Windows did that. I have to have like my I have to have things run well for certain things I'm doing. Now, when I'm tinkering, that's fine. With gaming, that's fine. I can keep on reinstalling games and everything, but I got to have my flow work fine, well for work stuff, or else my ADHD brain is going to self-destruct. And so, and it's hard. Like Gardner, like open source is fun. It's awesome. I love it. I've contributed to open source stuff before, but it's really hard to have like an open source phone and have a lot of things work on it really well, because it takes a lot of work to get that stuff in there. And so I'm just wondering what the answer is going to be for the future of like Android. If it's going to go closed source, I'm going to treat it, and I think everyone should treat it, that it's going to be closed source in the future, in the sense of Android itself probably won't be, and there'll be maybe there'll be like we can branch off and do clones of it, but expect continual updates to be moved over to something else that is closed source.
Yeah.
So
the thing with phones particularly is that with Android too. Android, like the core operating system is open source, but most of the drivers that you get for devices like this, a smartphone, are closed source. They are binary blobs that have been incorporated into the Linux kernel. And that has the benefit of like hardware manufacturers actually producing drivers for that hardware, but it also has the drawback that you can't study it, you can't figure out what's going on with it, you can't fix issues yourself.
Yeah.
And it also means that the firmware of these drivers or of these devices is also completely closed. So there aren't many great options in terms of like having a truly open source phone. And that's because there's a lot of industry collusion to keep things proprietary, not the least of which is the mobile operators. Like Verizon won't allow you to run a rooted phone on their network anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like I have two devices that I really want to be using, but I also don't want to pay $130 a month to AT&T for shit service around here, where I literally, if I wanted AT&T here, I'd have to drive to the end of my fucking street to make a phone call. You know,
well, what's the price you're willing to pay for open source, Gardner? I think we're finding out.
That's the thing, right?
No, I'm kidding, by the way.
No, you're absolutely right. It's like I am. It's like, what is the price that there is a premium to having privacy, to maintaining your privacy, and that sucks, because if you're aware of all the shit that's going down, like all of the actors that want your information. And I'm not even talking about like governments, right? Like this is
Advertisers.
it's advertisers, it's your insurance companies, it's all of these other things.
The insurance one that's another one where I'm starting to get more and more like, okay.
Oh, dude, yeah. People always, you talk about privacy and people make fun of you. It's like, oh yeah, put your tinfoil hat on. It's like, no, dude, do you want your insurance premiums to be jacked up on you because your phone says, like the telemetry on your busted ass phone says that you were driving faster than you actually were? No, you don't want that. And so like,
yeah,
this isn't paranoia. These are like actual things that are actually happening.
I mean, there's been a lot of even lawsuits over the years and stuff. Yeah, no, I hear you on this. Like it's unless we legislate this, like unless we put laws and regulations in, you have to then put it into your own hands. It's in your own hands. That's why, as much as you might not like Apple or whatever, like your options are, Android is a freaking clusterfuck of a mess with privacy, period. We know that. Like there's been multiple issues over the years. Apple has had some slip ups, and this is how I see it. Either you have an open source device or Apple, if you want at least a little bit of privacy. I hate that that's the option.
There is a device that I'm excited about, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's like not a smartphone. It's like it's like a Linux computer that's in your hand, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but it has like you can attach like a cell radio to it, and you can use it as a phone. And I'm thinking about doing that, like legitimately.
A ham radio phone.
No, it like legit, like it's a legit 4G thing.
Yeah, I'm kidding. It will be interesting to see how we go with all this. It is definitely one of those things where right now I don't think the average person can even like. It's really hard to do open source and to debug this stuff for especially an average person. I mean, dude, there's no way. I don't even know if I can get my parents to go over to like iPhone from an Android device because they're so embedded in. It's just easier for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get them to go over to something like this.
No, this is not for normal people. Like this is for nerds, dude. Like there's.
It looks fun.
It has interchangeable face plates on it, and this one's like a GPIO. This one is there's a gamepad, there's a keyboard. Yeah. And they actually just redesigned how these connect. I generally try to steer clear of Kickstarter stuff now, but like this looks really neat. It's called the Mecha Comet for anyone who's listening to the thing instead of watching. The Mecha Comet, and it's only $159. This is not going to actually replace a smartphone. You're not going to be able to get Android apps on it.
Yeah, but it's almost a dumb phone, or going back in time. It feels like
right, but it also will have like basic phone functionality. Like you could. I'll bet you could probably run Signal on this, and that's really what I care about.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my lecture on privacy today.
I think it's important, and I've always been. I've been one of those guys like. Your privacy's already, especially if you're an average person, is already compromised to a point.
Oh yeah.
And either you need to worry about it or don't, but expect consequences, I guess.
The thing is, yes, your privacy is already compromised, especially if you haven't been aware of it. But the industry is designed in such a way that it thrives on a constant feed of fresh data. And if you don't, if you're not providing that, then you can quickly regain your privacy. This is something that I actually teach a class about this. Like I go around and teach, give this presentation. I have a whole slide deck and everything. And I love teaching this class, and it's super rewarding because people are interested in this, and I get to help them on this journey, and it's super fun.
Yeah, you're definitely the expert on this area because I've been one of those lackadaisical people where I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I don't have time for this. I'd rather be tinkering with something. But with the way the world's kind of going right now, and just being able to be detained and have your phone searched right now is this is happening to average people. So just be a little careful. Like, free speech isn't as free as it used to be.
If you have Telegram, delete that shit right now.
Oh yeah, Telegram is definitely like, we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's bad news bears.
100%.
But
and I honestly, I think the best way to also see this is nothing is truly private. You just have layers of privacy, like meaning person to person is almost as private as it can get, but you could still have, especially back in the good old days of like wiretaps and stuff like that. There's still ways. Wiretaps not necessarily but listening devices in the room. Don't be paranoid about that, obviously, but like, well, I mean, maybe with your phone, I don't know, but just be careful with being the paranoid. There's the paranoid to lose your life kind of paranoid where you just don't do anything except for being paranoid, and then there's the paranoid of like, maybe just watch a little bit of what you're doing and see what you can do to shore it up every day, right? I don't know. That's me.
Yep. And I with that, I think that's all the stories we have, right?
That is all the stories, I think.
Let me check one thing real quick.
If you want a good deal on a 4 terabyte NVMe drive, Samsung 990 Pro is on sale for $279 at Amazon.
Oh, really?
So I figured I'd throw that out there. It's not a bad deal for 4 terabytes, but it's not it is the full sized, so it won't fit into the Steam Deck without modification. Figure I'd just throw that out. Oh, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 loses Steam Deck verified rating. This is from Noah on Steam Deck HQ. So it's another game that's losing its verified rating. Now, I don't know why it's losing it, but just interesting that that's happening.
Yeah. I did want to mention that there's a comment from Ben Betton 4506 on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Ben said, I can't find this on Apple Podcast. And if you go to podcast.subscribe2.me, you should see a link to Apple Podcasts right here on the right side. If you click on that, it'll take you right to it. Oh my God, did they remove us?
Let's see.
The page you're looking for can't be found. Huh. They might have we were on there. I had the link set up and everything. I'll get that fixed.
That's a good call out. Yeah.
Yeah. I was confident that we were on there. All right.
We were at one point, and because I'm pretty sure I was subscribed because I use Apple Podcasts, and once again, it's just a cleaner interface and doesn't have a bunch of other, like, they're not data mining me because I already paid for the product.
Right.
Okay. At least they're still doing some telemetry, but
yeah. Well, I'll get that fixed, and you'll find a link on our page.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, honestly, those types of comments are really helpful. Thank you.
Yes. And if you guys want to leave a comment, we're available on YouTube. We're available on the Fediverse. Check us out. Cool. So I think that's pretty much everything, man. What do you think?
That's it. Let's wrap this up.
Cool. Well, thank you guys all for watching. We appreciate you being here. We love spending time with you. And with that said, we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.